Welcome, curious minds. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive. We're looking at one of the most transformative industries out there right now, the global machine learning market.
Yeah, and it's more than just, the tech itself.
Exactly. It's not just algorithms. It's really about how businesses are changing fundamentally, how they think, how they act, innovate globally.
Mhm.
And for this discussion, our insights, they're coming straight from a detailed analysis called the Soaring Global Machine Learning Market. The data is powered by cognitive market research.
Solid source.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit because the headline numbers, they're honestly staggering. They really capture the scale here.
They do.
We're talking a market valued at what, almost $34 billion back in 2021?
Yep, $33.986 billion, basically $34 billion.
And it's expected to hit over $103 billion by 2025. That's what, triple?
Roughly, yeah. $103.67 billion is the projection.
And then it just skyrockets, projected to reach an incredible $964.6 billion by 2033.
Nearly $1 trillion.
It's huge. And that growth rate, the compound annual growth rate, CAGR, it's over 32%, 32.156% to be exact.
Wow. And what's really fascinating there isn't just the number itself, huge as it is.
Right.
It's what it signals. It points to this almost universal adoption, this understanding of how critical ML is going to be for, well, pretty much every industry.
So when we talk about this market, the global machine learning market,
Yeah.
what exactly are we counting? Is it just the software?
Good question. It's largely the software, yes, but also the platforms, the services revenue. So think everything from the core ML tools right through to really specific industry applications consulting work.
Got it.
It's basically the economic engine that's driving this whole AI revolution we're seeing.
Okay, so nearly $1 trillion by 2033. The numbers are practically shouting, but, who's winning this race, this global ML race?
Yeah.
And maybe more importantly, what's the map of tech power going to look like if these trends hold?
That's the core question.
That's our mission today, right? Where is this massive growth actually happening? What are the unique dynamics playing out in different parts of the world?
Exactly. Let's dive right into those geographic dynamics. Because, yeah, the global growth is immense, but it's really interesting to see where the big players are concentrated.
And where the fastest growth is maybe bubbling up?
Precisely. And North America, for instance.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely leading the charge currently.
It really is. It had, over a third of the global market back in 2021?
That's right.
And its path is set to grow from nearly $13.6 billion then?
$13.595 billion, yeah.
To over $372.5 billion by 2033.
Huge numbers. And that's a CAGR of over 31.6%.
Which is pretty consistent, right? And suggests maybe a more mature market, where ML isn't just experimental anymore.
I think so. It feels like it's deeply baked into core business processes there. Things like predictive analytics, intelligent automation. It's becoming standard practice for many enterprises.
Absolutely. Now, if we drill down a bit within North America, the U.S. is obviously a giant.
Unsurprisingly, yes. Projected to hit nearly $293 billion itself by 2033. That's $292.696 billion.
So what's really compelling, like you hinted at, is the growth outside the U.S., Canada, for example.
Right. Canada's growth is actually accelerating faster. Its CAGR is over 33.5%.
Wow.
Yeah, projected to reach over $51.8 billion by 2033. Started from about $1.65 billion in 2021.
Quite a leap. And Mexico.
Mexico also showing very strong growth, heading towards almost $28 billion by 2033. That's $27.977 billion from about $1 billion in 2021.
So North America is the established leader, but definitely not a single uniform story. That's fascinating. Okay, let's cross the Atlantic. Europe, also seeing big expansion, right?
Very substantial expansion, yes. Europe's market is forecast to grow from around $9.8 billion in 2021
$9.822 billion.
to over $268 billion by 2033. So $268.352 billion. That's a CAGR of 31.648%. Very close to North America's rate, actually.
Interesting. And the big players there, UK, Germany, France.
Yeah, they're the strong anchors. The UK is projected around $30 billion, Germany $45 billion, France over $41 billion by 2033. So combined, that's well over $100 billion right there.
Okay, but what else stands out in Europe?
Well, what's really intriguing, I think, is the segment the report calls Rest of Europe.
Okay.
This group includes, Luxembourg, maybe the Nordics, the Baltics, a whole mix. And this group actually shows the highest European CAGR, almost 34%.
Really? Higher than France or Germany?
Yes, 33.906%, going from $1.7 billion to over $55 billion by 2033.
So what does that tell us?
It suggests a really broad, maybe decentralized adoption happening. It's not just the traditional economic powerhouses. It could be smaller, more agile economies, finding niches, integrating ML quickly.
That's a great point, a wider digital transformation signal. Okay, now let's shift focus. Asia Pacific. The report calls its growth an unstoppable boom.
It really does, and the numbers back it up.
Yeah.
This region has the highest regional CAGR in the whole report.
Higher than North America or Europe.
Yep, over 33.6%,
Oh.
33.634% specifically.
Wow. So how does that translate in dollars?
It's projected to explode from just over $6.3 billion in 2021.
$6.355 billion.
Right, to almost $200 billion by 2033. That's $199.383 billion.
Almost $200 billion. Who's leading the charge there? China.
China's definitely a leader, set to reach over $57.5 billion. Japan's right behind, forecast near $43 billion. These are massive economies, really embracing ML at scale.
Okay, huge numbers from China and Japan. But the report highlights something else, right? India.
Ah, yes, India. The report uses the term explosive growth, and for good reason.
Okay.
India has the single highest individual country CAGR in the entire analysis.
Get out. What is it?
35.003%.
35%.
CAGR.
Exactly. It's set to rocket from less than $1 billion in 2021, about $908 million,
Sunny start, relatively.
to a staggering $32.1 billion by 2033.
Wow. That is explosive. What's driving that, do you think?
It seems like a unique mix of things. You've got a huge, young, digitally savvy population.
Right. Aggressive government initiatives pushing digitalization. And a really burgeoning tech talent pool that's driving ML innovation tailored for local needs.
So it's not just market growth, it's like
Right.
a fundamental economic shift happening there.
It feels like it. And it's not just India lighting up the region.
Okay.
Other parts of APAC, like Singapore and the broader Southeast Asia region, they're also showing CAGRs above 35%.
Really?
Yeah. Singapore's projected to hit nearly $7.8 billion. Southeast Asia, over $22.6 billion by 2033. South Korea's looking at nearly $13 billion. Australia, over $5 billion. Even Taiwan's hitting $3 billion. It's truly widespread across diverse economies there.
Unstoppable boom seems like the right description then.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, let's keep moving around the globe. South America, what's the picture there?
South America shows really significant expansion, too. A powerful trajectory, actually.
Okay.
Growing from about $2.4 billion in 2021, that's $2.379 billion,
Two.
to nearly $75 billion by 2033, $74.95 billion, and maintaining a strong CAGR of 33.397%.
Very strong. Almost matching Asia Pacific's regional rate. Who are the key players? Brazil.
Brazil's definitely key, projected to hit almost $24 billion. Argentina's following, forecast over $10.5 billion. And Colombia is also on a strong path, climbing to nearly $6.8 billion.
So a growing digital economy, more enterprise adoption kicking in.
Seems to be the story. Plus, you see robust numbers from Peru, Chile, and the rest of South America category, which is actually projected to hit almost $30 billion itself.
Okay. Now, shifting gears slightly, the Middle East, the report notes solid growth, but it has the lowest regional CAGR.
That's right. Just over 30%, 30.255%. Still very respectable growth, mind you.
Sure, 30% is still huge growth, but lower than other regions. Why might that be?
It's hard to say definitively from just the numbers, but it could suggest maybe different economic priorities currently, or perhaps a tech ecosystem that's maturing at a different pace compared to, say, North America or parts of Asia.
Okay, so what are the numbers?
It's growing from about $1.2 billion in 2021
$1.19 billion.
to over $28 billion by 2033, $28.263 billion.
And within the region.
Saudi Arabia is a major contributor, projected to reach over $9.1 billion. The UAE is increasing significantly too, nearly $3 billion. Turkey, Egypt, Qatar follow with steady climbs.
So maybe more strategic, targeted investments related to economic diversification rather than purely exponential tech adoption across the board?
That could be part of it. Growth
Yeah.
is definitely happening, just perhaps with a different character than, say, India or Canada.
Got it. Okay, last region on our world tour, Africa. Often seen as an emerging market, a frontier for tech.
Absolutely. And the potential reflected in the numbers is impressive.
What are we seeing?
Africa's projected to grow from just over $500 million in 2021, $646 million.
Starting small again.
Yes, a smaller base, but is forecast to reach over $21 billion by 2033. That's $21.125 billion.
And the growth rate.
A very healthy CGR of nearly 32.8%, 32.772%. So right in line with the global average, basically.
That's significant, especially from that starting point. Any standouts?
Nigeria is notable, climbing to over $4.2 billion by 2033. South Africa is also a significant player, set to reach almost $7 billion. And the rest of Africa collectively peaks near $10 billion.
So it highlights this widespread, maybe still early stage, but definite adoption across the continent. Perhaps leapfrogging with mobile tech?
That seems plausible.
Ah,
Often driven by mobile-first strategies, using ML to tackle really unique local challenges. It's definitely a region to watch closely.
okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground, literally spanned the globe with these numbers.
We have.
So, stepping back, what does all this mean for you, our listener? Whether you're maybe a tech investor, a business strategist, or just someone keen on AI and wanting to stay informed.
Well, the numbers are loud and clear, aren't they?
They really are. Machine learning isn't just some niche innovation anymore. It feels like a full-blown revolution. It's undeniably shaping our digital future.
Absolutely. We've seen this truly global phenomenon unfolding today. A market poised to hit almost $1 trillion by 2033.
It's staggering.
And that huge growth, it's fueled by massive investment, yes, but
Mhm.
also increasing adoption by businesses,
Yeah.
large and small. And it's penetrating everywhere, every continent.
Yeah.
It's not just a Silicon Valley thing or a Shenzhen thing. It's fundamental, global.
Yeah, from North America still holding the lead, Europe with its significant share, to that unstoppable boom in Asia Pacific,
Yeah.
really spearheaded by India's incredible growth rate.
In Southeast Asia, Canada.
Right. And then the substantial expansion across South America, the solid strategic growth in the Middle East, and Africa's emerging power, the trajectory just seems undeniable.
It really does.
This deep dive, I think, it really showed us not just the sheer scale, but the incredible geographic spread of this transformation.
Which leads to, I think, an important question for you to mull over.
Okay.
As machine learning keeps weaving itself into every sector, every region, how might these distinct growth patterns we've talked about, especially in those super high CAGR areas like India or Canada or Southeast Asia, how might they start to reshape global economic landscapes?
You mean like challenge the traditional tech hubs?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Could they redefine who the leaders are over the next decade? And maybe more interestingly, what kind of unexpected opportunities might pop up because of these shifts? Where might the next big innovation wave come from?
That is definitely something to think about. A really thought-provoking deep dive into the numbers that are, well, shaping our tomorrow. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a really close look at the machine learning market. We've got insights from cognitive market research on, the size, share, forecasts, all that. Our goal here is basically to pull out the most important stuff for you, give you a shortcut to understanding these big shifts happening with AI, automation, data.
Exactly. And it's more than just a shortcut. It's about getting clarity, right? Understanding the real dynamics of this field because it's moving so incredibly fast. We want you to see why machine learning isn't just, another tech buzzword. It's genuinely changing things at a fundamental level.
Right, fundamental shifts. So, okay, let's dive into that. What's actually fueling all this growth? We hear about it all the time, but what are the key drivers pushing this market forward?
Well, a huge one, probably the biggest, is the explosion of big data. And it's not just the amount, the sheer volume, which is massive from IoT, social media, transaction sensors, you name it. But it's also the complexity and the speed of it. Real-time data feeds. This sheer flood of information makes older analytic methods, well, pretty much useless for finding deep insights quickly.
So companies need ML just to make sense of the data they already have.
Pretty much. They need it to derive insights at scale, otherwise they're just drowning. You can't manually sift through petabytes of data. And that leads right into the next driver, which is how widely AI, and ML specifically, is being adopted in business processes.
Okay, so it's moving out of the lab and into everyday operations.
Exactly. It's not just experiments anymore. We're seeing it used for predictive analytics, automating decisions, optimizing workflows. The research points to big impacts in healthcare, finance, retail, manufacturing. It's really boosting business outcomes, not just tweaking things.
And what's making that adoption possible? Is it just cheaper?
Right.
Easier?
Both, actually. A major enabler is the availability of all these open source frameworks and cloud platforms. Tools like TensorFlow, PyTorch, running on platforms like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. They've drastically lowered the barrier to entry. It's democratized things.
Lower the barrier, meaning more companies can actually do this now.
Precisely. It empowers startups just as much as big enterprises.
Mm-hmm.
They can build and deploy pretty sophisticated models much more efficiently and, yeah, cheaper than ever before.
Makes sense. And what about investment? Is money flowing into this space?
Oh, absolutely. That's the final big driver we're seeing. There's growing investment in AI-driven innovation across the board. Governments are involved. The big tech players are pouring money in. VCs are funding heavily. All this capital is accelerating research, pushing boundaries, and speeding up commercial use globally. It's creating whole new markets.
Okay, so powerful drivers, pushing things forward, big data, AI adoption, better tools, lots of investment. But it can't all be smooth sailing, right? There have to be challenges. This is where it gets interesting, I think. Despite the boom, what are the hurdles, the key restraints holding things back a bit?
You're right. There are definitely significant challenges. One of the biggest and maybe most persistent is the shortage of skilled talent. Finding qualified data scientists, machine learning engineers, even domain experts who understand both the tech and the business. It's tough. The whole industry is grappling with this. It really limits how fast companies can actually scale up their ML efforts, even if they have the budget.
Right, the people problem. And even if you can find the people, I imagine it's expensive to actually run this stuff.
It certainly can be. That's the next challenge. High computational and operational costs. Training these really large, complex models often needs serious hardware, like powerful GPUs, plus massive data centers and, the energy to run it all.
So that can be a barrier, especially for smaller companies?
Definitely. It can be cost prohibitive. Smaller players might struggle to afford the infrastructure needed to compete with the big guys who have huge resources. It sort of creates a bit of an uneven playing field.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so talent and cost. What else? I keep hearing about data privacy concerns.
Yes, that's a huge one. Data privacy and regulatory compliance are really pressing issues.
Yeah.
You've got frameworks like GDPR in Europe, HOPO for healthcare data in the US. Organizations have to be incredibly careful about how they collect, store, and process sensitive user data. It adds layers of legal complexity and risk.
And dealing with that complexity takes time and resources too, I bet.
It does. And tied into that trust issue is the problem of model transparency, or rather, the lack of it. Explainability. We hear about these black box models all the time.
Right, the models work, but we don't always know how they work.
Exactly. And in sectors like healthcare or insurance or finance, where decisions have major consequences, that lack of clarity is a real problem. You need trust. Regulators might require explanations. Customers need to feel confident. So how do you build trust with a black box? It's a core tension.
That's a fundamental challenge, balancing performance with being able to explain why the model made a certain decision.
It is. Often the most accurate models are the hardest to interpret. So organizations are trying to figure out that trade-off, especially where regulations demand explainability.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, so we have the drivers, we have the significant roadblocks, but innovation doesn't stop, right? Let's shift gears and look ahead. What are the key trends shaping the future? Where is ML heading next?
Well, one really exciting trend is the growth of automated machine learning and also these no-code or low-code ML platforms. This is really about democratizing ML even further.
Making it easier for people who aren't like hardcore data scientists.
Exactly. It allows non-experts, maybe business analysts or domain specialists, to build and deploy models without needing deep coding skills.
Yeah.
This could open the floodgates for much wider adoption across all sorts of industries and businesses, especially smaller ones.
Okay, that sounds potentially transformative. What else is emerging?
Another big shift is the integration of machine learning with edge computing.
Edge computing, meaning running the models directly on devices, not in the cloud.
That's right. Running models on smartphones, IoT sensors, security cameras, cars,
Yeah.
whatever the edge device is. The big advantage there is real-time decision-making. It reduces latency because the data doesn't have to go all the way to a central server and back.
Ah, so faster responses and maybe better privacy too if the data stays local?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Less data transmission can mean better privacy and security. It also makes applications more robust if network connectivity is spotty. It's a move towards more decentralized intelligence.
Interesting, decentralized intelligence. And are we seeing ethics become more central to the conversation?
Increasingly so, yes. Ethical AI and responsible machine learning practices are becoming much more prominent. Organizations are focusing more on fairness, accountability, transparency, and the FATE principles, and mitigating bias in their models. It's becoming a core consideration, not an afterthought.
That's good to hear. Finally, any trends around specific applications of ML?
Definitely. There's a noticeable rise in industry-specific ML applications. It's moving beyond general tools. Think about precision agriculture, using ML for predicting crop yields or optimizing irrigation, or in logistics, using it for dynamic route optimization that adapts on the fly. Even in education, for creating really personalized learning paths for students, it's about building ML solutions tailored for very specific industry problems.
So much more targeted, much more specialized.
Exactly, and often much more impactful because of that focus.
Okay, so as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, the picture seems clear. Machine learning isn't just, a passing fad. It's really a fundamental change in how we handle data, make decisions, how systems actually learn and adapt. We've talked about the big drivers like data and investment, the real challenges like talent and transparency, and these exciting future trends like AutoML, edge computing, and specialization.
And I think understanding these different forces, the push or the pull really helps you grasp the bigger picture of this technological transformation that's underway. It does raise a really interesting question, though. As ML gets more powerful, more accessible, more specialized, how is it going to keep redefining industries and, our daily lives in ways we probably can't even fully predict right now?
That's the big question, isn't it? And maybe something for you, our listeners, to think about. How might these insights apply in your world? Where do you see the next unexpected place ML might pop up and completely change the game? Definitely keep that curiosity going. Thanks for diving deep with us today.